Welcome to Time for Change Kitchen. I'm Danielle Bassoni. Since I became plant-based a little less than 7 years ago, I have become a huge fan of Ethiopian food, and I've discovered that I am not alone. One of the things I love about Ethiopian restaurants is that it's one of the few places that you can walk in and order a vegetarian dish and be sure that there's not any animal protein in it. Ethiopians go 180 days a year without eating any animal protein at all, so they know very well how to prepare vegan food. This is a religious fasting period, and since they also fast for personal days, it's not uncommon for Ethiopians to go 300 days a year without eating any animal protein at all, which makes it a perfect fit for vegan diners who are traveling. And so I've eaten at many Ethiopian restaurants, and I've learned to cook their foods. I've talked to chefs. They've done cooking demonstrations for me. They've brought me into their kitchens, and they have shared some of their secrets with me. And one of the things I have done is I've created these dishes without oil, because as much as I love Ethiopian food, they do tend to use copious amounts of oil, and I prefer to have an oil-free diet. So today we're going to be making a wonderful traditional dish that is a staple in most restaurants that I've been in. I've only seen one that did not have Misir Wot on the menu. And we will be preparing it without oil. This is spicy red lentils, and it is just so delicious. And so we'll get started. So let's move over to the stove now. In this recipe, we're using 1½ cups of dried red lentils. To begin, we have to sift through the lentils to remove any dirt and debris we may find. This is an important step in cooking any kind of bean. You'll be amazed to find small rocks hidden amongst most beans, so don't bypass this step, for it may create for you unnecessary and avoidable dental work. The easiest way to sort through beans is to pour them a little at a time across the palm of your hand. Rocks, debris, and damaged or questionable beans become readily apparent. Next, we will wash the lentils. Cover them with plenty of filtered water. Swirl them around in the pan and rub them between your palms. This will create a milky liquid, which we will then pour off. According to the Ethiopian chefs I've spoken with, this makes the lentils more digestible. Repeat this process at least 3 times or until the water has become relatively clear. Place a sauté pan over medium heat. When a few droplets of water added to the pan sizzle on contact, it's time to add the chopped red onions. We're adding 1 3/4 cups. Push the onions around the pan with a bamboo or wooden spatula, scraping up any brown spots as they appear on the pan. Continue moving the onions around to prevent scorching. As the pan begins to brown, pour a tablespoon or 2 of water onto the pan to lift off the caramelization. Allow most of the water to evaporate before moving the onions back onto the spot you've just cleared. This will pull the caramelization from the pan and onto the onions without making them soggy. Again, add the water to the area you've just moved the onions from and scrape up the caramelization. Push the onions back onto the clean spot and continue this process. Shake the pan to distribute the onions evenly and cover for 30 seconds to 1 minute. This will speed up the cooking process a little. Remove lid and push the onions aside. Add more water and tilt the pan so that you can bathe the sides of the pan with water to pull up the caramelization that has accumulated there and to prevent scorching. As before, scrub the brown areas, let most of the water evaporate, and then move the onions back onto this area. Repeat with the rest of the pan. Cover and repeat this process until the onions are soft and golden brown. Now stir in 1½ tablespoons minced garlic and 1½ tablespoons minced ginger, and continue cooking in the same manner as before. When the ginger and garlic are soft, cover and reduce heat to low. In a medium saucepan on medium heat, add washed lentils with 2 cups of vegetable stock, swishing around in the pan to remove all the lentils. If you don't have a homemade vegetable broth available, you can use water. You can learn how to make my quick vegetable broth at my website, timeforchangekitchen.com. Add another cup of broth, keeping extra aside for later. You don't want to add all of the broth at one time because we do not want the Misir Wot to become soupy. Place over high heat. Check the lentils often to make sure they don't boil over. Lentils generate quite a lot of froth and can boil over easily, making a mess of your stovetop. Cover and bring lentils to a simmer. Uncover the onions and deglaze the caramelization as before with water. It is okay to add a bit more water now because we are going to be adding spices. Stir in 3 tablespoons of paprika and 3 tablespoons of beurre spice blend to your onion mixture. This dish is intended to be spicy, but if you don't like a kick to your Misir Wot, you may certainly use less beurre, like 1 or 2 tablespoons. For links to where you can purchase these spices, go to timeforchangekitchen.com. Add a little vegetable broth to thin the mixture to a creamy paste. Turn off heat, stir, and allow to rest until your lentils have begun to simmer. Once the lentils begin to simmer, reduce the temperature to low. Remove the lid and stir. Replace the lid. Continue to simmer the lentils on low, checking them frequently to see that they don't boil over. Set your timer for 8 minutes. After the timer goes off, remove the lid, stir lentils, and check for doneness. You may be surprised to discover that red lentils become yellow as they cook. Now it is time to stir in the onion and the spice paste. It is the spices, not the lentils, that give Misir Wot its red color. Heat the pan with the spice residue and add a little broth to release the remainder of the spices and onions from the pan. Use a heat-resistant silicone spatula to scrape this mixture into the saucepan with the lentils. You can purchase these spatulas for a couple of bucks at almost any discount market like Walmart's. Taste for salt and for spice balance. If you want your Misir Wot to be very spicy, you may add a little cayenne pepper now. If you feel it needs more salt, add this as well. Babura's spice blend has salt in it, so I never feel the need to add more. This is a personal preference, so suit yourself. Cook uncovered at a fast simmer for about 10 minutes, stirring occasionally to prevent scorching. If you like, you can stir in 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon of ground kororima or black cardamom seeds as a finishing spice. I forgot to show that in this video, but it is a simple matter of stirring it in at the end, just before serving. For maximum flavor, it is best to grind it just before serving with a mortar and pestle. Don't overdo it. A little black cardamom goes a long way. Transfer your Misir Wot to a serving dish or onto Ethiopian injera flatbread and serve hot. So there you have it, perfectly delicious Ethiopian Misir Wot cooked without oil. I'm Danielle Bassoni, serving up whole foods for whole health.